Okay, so we've got a lot of things here that we're going to plant, and this is going to be an example of how to prepare some pots with the method that we're experimenting with, about growing a lot of different things in one pot so that they create soil which continues to get better and they all can work in conjunction with one another symbiotically. These are Meyer lemon pits from Lemon and Water. These are tomato seeds. Probably if you bought these tomato seeds in the store, you'd probably pay about $4 or $5. All these are tomato seeds that I scraped from the cutting board. Bought one organic tomato, it was a Roma tomato, cut the tomato. Rather than wiping the cutting board off with a sponge, I took the cutting board and wiped it off with a knife and scraped these onto these lids. I find these to be very useful for just that purpose. This is an experiment. Don't know what's going to happen. These are hot peppers that were in some Mongolian beef from the Chinese restaurant the other night. The pepper seeds are in them. They've been fried pretty hot. Don't know how that's going to affect the seeds, but pepper seeds are pretty hardy. Again, didn't eat them. Rather than throwing them away, I'm going to try to plant them and see what happens. These are the avocado pits that the Juice Bar Collective has been saving for me. They save them on a regular basis. Today we're going to try a little bit of an experiment with these avocado pits. Rather than planting them in the ground just as they are, I'm going to try to put a coating of beef fat on them and see if that acts as a substitute for the fats in the avocado fruit in the growing process. I have a number of avocado trees growing, but friends suggested that perhaps the avocado pit needs the fruit in order to grow. We could just as easily continue to get avocados from the trash at Monterey Market, but I want to see if we can make this work as well. Here's the beef fat. I've taken beef from the organic restaurant, sliced it into strips, fried it up. That gives me two products. It gives me the fried beef, which is sort of like pork chitlins, which I can then feed to my dogs. It's probably pretty good for humans in small quantities. And there's some beef fat here, which has now been rendered. It's been heated and cooled, and I'm just storing it in a dog food can. I'm going to coat each of these avocado pits before I plant them in this beef fat. Don't know what's going to happen. Let's see if they grow. Here are the avocados, the organic avocados from the Monterey Market. We'll plant these as well, see how they do. And the last thing that I've got are some eggs, which I didn't eat for a while. These are the eggshells which I'm going to plant. These provide calcium for the plants. And here are some eggs which I've waited too long to eat. And I'm going to crack each of these over on top of everything. And again, it's providing some protein and some nutrients for all of the food. The last thing we're going to do today is these are two squashes which came from a CSA, a community-supported agriculture box. I think it was from Full Belly Farm. I specifically didn't eat these because I wanted to get the seeds from these. So these are starting to mold, as you can see. I'm going to cut each of these open, salvage the seeds, and plant the seeds as well. Okay, I've got these pepper seeds. I'm going to take some of these, going to break them open, and just put some pepper seeds, about way too many. Remember, nature works in abundance. So we're putting about half of each of the seeds from one pepper in each of these two pots. I'm going to take the pepper itself and put it in there. Next, I'm going to take one of the avocados and I'm going to bury it down in the ground right in the center of the pot. Going to put it just a little bit under in the hopes that maybe the birds are going to leave it alone. Going to do the same thing over here. Okay, we're good for that for right now. Now, we've got our tomato seeds. Real simple, we'll just scrape them off. There's no great order to anything. My theory is that when you're watering, the water's going to fill up this and it's going to redistribute all the seeds in an equal pattern anyway. So I don't give too much care to where the seeds go when I put them in. These are the lemon seeds. Again, I'm putting too many in both, more than you could possibly ever use, but these are just the seeds from one Meyer lemon, so we're good to go on that. I think as a farmer it's pretty important that you carry a knife. So this is the knife I carry. It's a real simple French locking knife. It works pretty well. This is a decorative gourd. And if you look in here, some of the seeds have gotten moldy. I think that's actually a pretty good thing. I think the molding is part of the process. So we'll just take some of these seeds, just a few, and we'll put them in each of these containers. A lot more than most people would plant. Most people would plant 2 or 3, but we've got a lot of fruit here. We'll just plant them all. And then this gourd itself, again, I can stick this in here. It'll compost down on its own. I've got these eggshells, we can compost them, but I'm going to grind them up and just sort of put them in here and let them decompose little bit by little. And then finally, just going to take an egg and break it over there and just call it good. Okay. In these 3 pots, what I'm going to do is take the other avocado seeds and put a little beef fat on those and just stick them in the ground as well. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with this. So remember, we've got these 6 pots here and I really haven't spent any money on this at all. The fruit I would have eaten anyway. The gourds were too many. I wouldn't have gotten a chance to eat those. I guess I could have given them away. The eggshells we've incorporated in here, the tomato seeds, and what we're striving for is something that's ultimately going to look like one of these pots where there's a variety of things all growing so that we can come around here as a deer would and we can take a few of these beans, a few of these pieces of arugula, a piece of chard from here, a potato or a bit of lettuce or a bit of mustard green, a little bit of onion, and we can eat very, very healthfully, very inexpensively in a very small space. You don't want to water too much. Somebody asked me yesterday about my watering theory, and what I told her was it's important that I water a little bit and then water a little bit again. I think if you water too much right at the beginning, what happens is the soil can't absorb the water, and then a lot of it runs through. And with container gardening of any kind, one of the things you've got to be careful of is all of your nutrients will run through. Ideally, in the rainy season, what we'd do is we'd cover all of this stuff up so the nutrients wouldn't run through. What I've been doing is I've designed this roof so that the scuppers through the roof lead out to the deck, and right now I'm catching all of the nutrients in 5-gallon buckets and reincorporating them back into the system. But in an ideal system, what I do is I'd have a larger catchment tank and I'd be able to channel the nutrients, the first or second runoff from the rain, into those buckets and then use a solar-powered pump to pump that liquid, which is nutrient-rich, back up into the garden and reincorporate it back in.